Hi everyone, I'm Steve Stoller.
And I'm Shauna Haley, and this is Inside Plano, where we take you behind the scenes of our city.
We'll introduce you to the faces and places who help make this a great place to live.
And give us lots of reasons to love Plano.
Well, happy August, Steve Stoller. It's great to see you.
Always a pleasure to see you as well, Shauna.
Hey, do you think that we can still continue our birthday month celebrations from July into August, just kind of continue the fun?
Well, I got to tell you, so I'm used to celebrating one day for my birthday and maybe doing some fun things like on the weekend before or after. But I love your concept of the birthday month.
I like to ignore my birthday, and I didn't really understand the pleasure of a birthday month, and I especially wanted to ignore it this year. Um, the team that we work with loves to do birthday months, and so since our birthdays are so close to each other, we've just had a great time celebrating for an extended period of time. But speaking of that birthday that I want to ignore this year, our special guest today is something that all of a sudden is very interesting to me. For the Sam Johnson Recreation Center for older adults. All of a sudden, I'm an older adult. It happens.
And I'll just say a secret, but it's for people 50 and older.
Exactly. Exactly. Though, speaking of getting older, but the reason we have Raney on the show later on is because the recreation center is reopening, and it's almost fully open now. And it just feels like that's true for a lot of things in Plano anymore. Continuing, to be careful and follow good health practices, but at the same time, things are reopening, programs are coming back online. It feels very different, doesn't it?
And I'm excited about people hearing about it because it's a wonderful place. It really is a top-notch facility for those who are 50 and older.
Yeah. Well, what do you say we get into some of the events that are going on around Plano in August, and then we can get right to that interview because it's a good one.
Sounds great. What's going on?
So let's talk about animal services. Clear the Shelter. It is back for 2021. And just like in 2020, we're going to do it over an extended period of time. Back in the pre-COVID days, Clear the Shelter used to be a one-day event. And, clearly we couldn't have anybody really coming into the shelter in those kinds of crowds on a one day. So it was a 3-week, I think, event. And it's very similar this year. It'll be August 23rd through September 19th. We'll be posting details on the Plano Animal Shelter webpage. Boy, tongue-tied there. And also on their Facebook page as we get details available. And it'll also go out in newsletters. So keep an eye out for that. Interesting COVID-related thing about Clear the Shelter for 2020. How many animals, Steve, do you think were actually adopted from Plano alone?
I'm going to guess and say about 200.
It was actually more than that, 265. So Plano, just like shelters all around the country, saw a run on furry companionship as people were under stay-at-home orders, and it was a perfect time if you're going to bring a new pet into the household and really bond with them. So just like then, we're not overrun with animals, but we do have dogs, cats, and some other furry critters that need good, loving homes. So please check us out at Clear the Shelter this year.
That's great. And Shauna, you know how much we love live music,
Absolutely.
going to concerts.
Mm-hmm.
So the concerts are starting back again, and I'm so excited because I love live music. And that means the downtown sessions are coming up again at McCall Plaza in downtown Plano. The first one will be on August 14th at 7:30. The band is the Selfless Lovers. They're a piano-driven rock and roll band from Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Their original music is kind of a combination of classic rock, soul, blues, and southern rock. So we're looking forward to seeing them. And then the Courtyard Texas Music Series begins again, August 26th, 7:30 p.m., the return of Roger Krager. Roger is a Texas country music singer and songwriter and very popular. That's why we're bringing him back again. And of course, every Monday at noon, we have the Plano Arts Facebook, which is hosting a free online arts class. The August projects are based on a collection of student requests, including dogs and more. Looking ahead to September, we'll be collaborating once again with the Plano Balloon Festival.
Yeah, it still just is shocking to me how popular that online art class is. So it's nice to see that continuing. Well, Steve, is on a slightly more serious topic. Plano Parks and Recreation. We love our parks in Plano, and you and I talk all the time about how remarkable it is. We have 85 parks in our park system, plus, of course, the Parks and Recreation facilities. Um, and they're award winning, many years being award winning parks. And it's one of those things that having that many parks and having such a dedicated staff, it's easy to forget that not everybody knows how to use a park and not everybody knows how to take care of a park. So we do have park maintenance staff that are out 7 days a week, actually cleaning and maintaining and taking care of the equipment just to make sure that those parks are beautiful and safe and clean for all of us to enjoy. But we've had just some challenges. And I think it's really because people are out more often. The habits that we developed in 2020 of going outside for exercise because we were kind of tired of being inside have continued. And we're just seeing an increase in litter in some of our parks, just some inappropriate behavior. And what we want to remind everybody is that parks belong to all of us. And so we all have a responsibility to help keep those places safe and clean. And so they're just some simple things you can do. If you're in the park and you have trash, throw it in the trash can. That's especially true if you're renting a pavilion. Pick up after yourself, clean that space. It doesn't have to be perfectly spotless, but it needs to be nice for the next person that comes there. If you see a problem, report it on Fix It Plano. We have, there are multiple ways to do that. And as a dog owner, I especially appreciate this last one. If you're walking your dog on the trails, like I do with Glory Bee all the time, make sure you take a plastic bag along with you and pick up after your pet and throw it in one of the waste bins because dog dew, as we've learned on the podcast, is actually considered litter. It's not fertilizer and it's not good to leave it there. So pick that up and toss it. And that'll just make it a little easier for all of us to enjoy those parks. So one other thing, and it's on a happier note, with Parks and Rec, we are getting ready to start enrollment for the fall season. Fall season starts in September. Registration begins August 7th. You can go online now, anytime, and look at the catalog of courses that are offered. And you can go ahead and set up your registration account at Recreation Online and be ready when those classes open up. And I didn't realize this, Steve, but our Parks and Recreation system offers more than 6,000 classes every year. And it's just an incredible number of classes. And most of those are actually taught by people who are our neighbors, so members of our own community. And if you are a person who has a passion, a skill, a talent, and you'd like to be considered as a potential instructor for a class, go ahead. Also go online to Parks and Recreation. You can fill out an online application for consideration to teach a course.
Sean, a lot of people bring their kids to the public libraries for kids' story times.
Mhm.
But, as we've said so often on our podcast, the library provides so much more. I mean, everything from free business tools, news, data on the library's business resources site. You can also view business and job seeker workshops on the Plano Public Library YouTube channel, and brush up on everything from technology skills to networking, interviewing, marketing, using reference solutions, and much more than that. Access valuable training on business, creative, and technology skills from industry experts through LinkedIn Learning, which is available free to Plano Public Library cardholders. And one reminder, the 2021 Friends book sale at the Plano Event Center, which is always a very, very popular event, unfortunately has been canceled for this year. You can check the Friends website periodically for information on future sales. Great selection of reading materials awaits patrons at all 5 libraries. Shop now and support the Friends with your purchases.
Well, speaking of applications and finding things online, applications are now open through August 20th to participate in the Neighborhood Leadership Academy. This is a year-long program that's open to all non-mandatory neighborhood groups. So we're talking things like HOAs, neighborhood associations, crime watch groups that are located in Plano. They have monthly meetings, and that starts in October. And some of the meetings are online through Zoom, some of them are in person. And really, the point of the program is to help neighborhood groups. You'll learn strategies for how you develop vision, mission, value statements for your neighborhood, how to assess the strengths of your neighborhood and gaps that you can maybe start to address, how to market and position your neighborhood as a great place to live, how to organize your neighbors and get everybody engaged and involved, because we know that connected neighbors make better neighborhoods. You can apply online, as I mentioned. We put the application link in the show notes. Also available through Neighborhood Services Department are energy efficient home loan improvements. They're very affordable and easy to do through our Smart Energy Loan Program. You can actually reduce your home energy bills with this program. It's designed just for Plano homeowners, I should note. The loans range from $2,500 to $25,000. And we're talking about things like air sealing and ventilation, daylighting, fireplaces, insulation, landscaping, lighting, and more. They accept applications on a rolling basis. And again, we put all of the details on how to actually ask questions and get connected to that program in the show notes. But in this day, when house prices are high, and we also know that remodeling costs are high because of the housing shortage, every little dollar helps. So there's a resource available for you.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Do you do any gardening at your house?
That has become my pandemic project. I actually am doing my whole backyard garden by myself.
So you're growing some veggies out there?
Not veggies yet. I'm going to start small, but I did have a rosemary bush in my front yard that I have to replant because Winter Storm Uri took it out.
Well, you're a better person than I, because I have no luck with plants at all. Everything I touch, it seems it dies, unfortunately. But this is really cool. So Thursday, August 5th, our Sustainability and Environmental Education Division is sponsoring vegetable gardening for North Texas. North Texas. You can learn how to set up your spring garden for maximum results so that you too can produce delicious organic vegetables for your table. Now, first, they're having a webinar, which is online from 11 a.m. to noon, or in person, it's a little bit later in the day from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Environmental Education Center. Now, Thursday, August 12th, they're sponsoring Success with Seeds. If you're going to garden, you got to understand seeds and how it all works. So you learn the secrets to successful seed sowing from vegetablegardener.com contributor and seed master Greg Holdsworth. This will be a hands-on workshop. The class meets from 7 to 9 p.m. also at the Environmental Education Center. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm seeing more people grow their own vegetables. People are interested in eating local and eating farm to fork. And I guess in many cases that can be backyard to fork too. Well, speaking of getting things and doing things, Visit Plano is back with another fun project. They have a retail trail pass. So now, in August through September 30th, you can check into 15 participating Plano retailers just using your smartphone. You'll receive a free Plano shopping tote. The purpose of Shop Across Plano's retail pass is twofold. We're hoping that you're aware of all of the different shopping options that are available here in Plano. And of course, our business community, particularly our retailers, are continuing to try to recover and rebound from the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's pretty easy to participate. Very similar if you did the foodie program, very, very similar. You're going to go to visitplano.com, shop across Plano, and you're going to register. You'll open up a pass that's emailed to you, and then you just select a retailer and you pick a special offer and you go shopping, and they'll track your visits and get a prize at the end. So a lot of fun there. Our
special guest today is Raney Krev, who's a recreation supervisor over at the Sam Johnson Recreation Center. Hi, Raney.
Hi, Steve. Hi, Shanna. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. We always like to start out these interviews by asking our fellow employees to tell us something about themselves that we don't know. And a lot of people have had some very interesting hobbies, things about their backgrounds. So, Raney, what is it about you that we haven't heard?
So, a couple things about me, probably. I married my high school sweetheart of 18 years. We have two beautiful daughters, 14 months and 5 years. And we just recently found a new hobby for traveling and camping with our new travel trailer.
That's great.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Let's talk about our beautiful Sam Johnson Recreation Center. The official name, of course, is the Sam Johnson Recreation Center for adults older than 50, which, of course, Shauna may have just entered recently. We don't want to say anything about that, but I've been a member for a long, long time. Shauna, no comment?
No comment.
Okay. So, Raney, what is it that makes the Sam Johnson Center different than our other recreation centers, which, of course, also offer programming for older adults?
Yeah, so thinking about this, there's several things, but the biggest thing that sets us apart is the gazebo cafe that we have here at SJC. It is a full service kitchen that is ran by one staff member and volunteers throughout Plano. And that would be the one thing that sets us apart because we're the only recreation center that has a full service cafe. It's open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12:30. Volunteers come in at 9 a.m. They help prep, serve, and clean up. And we offer a special every day along with other lunch options, but the special is $5. I've heard from patrons that our cafe is the best bang for your buck when you need lunch. So you should come check us out.
Say there are benefits to being 50 now.
Yes. It's great. It is great food. It's a great environment. We have over 30 volunteers that come and help us out on a daily basis. One of our volunteers that we had prior to COVID, she was 85 and she came 4 days a week. So we've built relationships with these volunteers and that, they're like our family here.
Now, Raney, I heard a rumor. You can either confirm or deny that you're actually doing some of the cooking these days. Any truth to that?
That is truth, actually. I started at Sam Johnson, previously Plano Senior Recreation Center in 2015, and I started as the gazebo cafe manager. And I did cook every day in there with the volunteers. And then I recently was promoted to supervisor, and I have a coordinator that is over the kitchen. However, she just started, so I'm filling in for her and helping out in the cafe.
What's your specialty?
Oh gosh, specialty, probably our cheeseburgers. But that's the biggest special around town. Like everybody loves our cheeseburgers and they also love our loaded baked potatoes.
Shauna, we may have a new place to have lunch next
I
week.
know. That's what I was just thinking. I was like, I know where I'm treating you for your lunch, Steve.
Come on over. I would be glad to serve you.
Well, Raney, we know that unfortunately the pandemic closed all of our recreation centers for most of 2020, but Sam Johnson stayed closed a little longer. Can you tell us why that decision was made?
Yeah, so 2020 was such a hard year for everyone. And we definitely don't want to repeat that year in general. That just was a horrible year. But honestly, it's been an interesting few years. We opened as Sam Johnson Recreation Center in March of 2019. March 19th, 2019, we reopened from a 15-month renovation. And then we shut down March 16th of 2020 due to COVID. So we were open 3 days shy of 1 year.
Wow.
And we finally reopened on April 1st of 2021. But, the biggest reason why we stayed closed longer than all the other recreation centers, because they all opened June in 2020, was the fact that the demographic that we serve here was under the stay-at-home order from Governor Greg Abbott, 65 and older, until March of 2021. So as city leaders, as a supervisor of the center, we had to put our patrons in our best interest to keep them safe. It was a very hard decision, but and we know we disappointed a lot of people, including staff. We were heartbroken that we stayed closed for over a year, but in the end, it was best for our patrons and for our staff to keep everyone safe.
So even though you were closed, though, I happen to know, the good fortune of working for the city, that you guys were busy and continued to do a lot of things to help our senior adults. Can you talk a little bit about what you all did during that extended time?
Yes. So my staff, oh my gosh, they did an outstanding job staying engaged virtually with our patrons, which, can be definitely a challenge for them given that their age. A lot of them are definitely not technology savvy. So we had to become creative over the year that we were closed. So a couple things that we did, and just to list off a few or all of them, we transitioned our monthly trendsetter that we print out monthly. We transitioned that to an e-trendsetter. And that was sent out weekly to over 3,000 plus members. And then anyone who heard about it through their friends emailed us, asked to be added to the list, and they were basically added to the list, and they got a trendsetter as well. And that provided like everything that we had going on with the center, or COVID tips, and we put a recipe in there for our patrons if they wanted to, if they felt like cooking. So we tried to do engaging things via our e-trendsetter, whether it was puzzles, classes that we had going on virtually. We had 38 fitness classes that we offered virtually via Zoom. We had 9 art classes that we offered via Zoom, and we had 11 education classes that we offered via Zoom. A couple other things that we did was we turned our Veterans Day event that we typically have in person, we turned that virtual, and it was a virtual event sent out to all of our veterans. Anybody could watch. So it was a free event. Our Thanksgiving drive-through luncheon was another big hit the year of 2020, and we had city leaders involved in that. They came and volunteered, and we served a huge Thanksgiving meal for our patrons that we hadn't seen. We had over 120 people come out. We had the city executive team, Mr. Israelson, Mr. Russian, the city police chief, the city fire chief, of course, the Parks and Recreation director, recreation services manager, and recreation superintendent come out and help. And they were lined through the parking lot, welcoming with posters and waving at all of our patrons, bringing them into the parking lot and picking up their food. So that was an amazing event that we had. Couple other things that we did was a coffee with the crew, which was via Zoom. And so we had our patrons log on. It was a free event. Bring your coffee. You got to talk with all the staff at SJC, see what we were doing. And we got to see their face. And then we did bingo via Zoom as well. And that was another hot ticket, because bingo is very popular at SJC. We had over 100 here today, and that was like the biggest crowd we've had. So it being virtual was really good to see that we were able to do that. We did senior care calls. A couple of our staff were a part of that. We had, I had my customer service representative, Janet Levitt. She did birthday calls, and we called every patron that's been an active net, that's been our patron. We called and wished them a happy birthday. So we did a lot of things. We were very, successful at. Some things we learned to adjust, what we did to make it better. But all in all, I feel like our patrons were very happy with what we did while we were closed down, even though they couldn't see us in person.
Raney, when did the Sam Johnson Center reopen fully?
It hasn't quite yet. So right now, July 5th, we opened to all card play, bingo, Tuesday night dances. What we don't have open right now is the cafe. The cafe is open on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it's typically open Monday through Friday. But we don't have the volunteer base to actually run our kitchen. So that will be opening fully in September. So I can say as of September 7th, which is the Tuesday after Labor Day, that we will be fully 100% open, the whole center.
Well, that's wonderful news.
Yeah.
Before the limited reopening, the center served as a vaccination host site for Texas Health Resources. Can you tell us a little bit about that partnership?
Yeah, it was a partnership that was made with city leaders, City of Plano leaders, and THR staff. It was a 6-month contract. They had access to our Lone Star Ballroom. They had access to our dining room to use as their lunch break room. And then they had access to some of our classrooms to administer the vaccine, mix it up, get it all prepped and ready for who they were going to administer the vaccine to. It was a great partnership. We really enjoyed them being in the building, especially not having anybody in the building for so long. So it felt really good to have, my staff seeing people and socialization with all of the THR staff. It was really great.
And I got to tell you, I went over there a few times and it amazed me how smooth the operation worked. I mean, they got people in and out very quickly in a very effective manner. And it seemed as if everyone was being extremely friendly and just a really good environment.
It was. We kind of planned out how the operation would go with the building still remaining closed. So you couldn't access any of our main entrance or exits with the facility. So we came up with a revised plan of how patrons or individuals that were coming in to get the vaccine could enter the building and exit the building without being exposed to the whole building and having access to other parts of the facility. And we continued that when we reopened April 1st, because the vaccine clinic was here, but only our fitness center was open at that time. And they were only open in the morning. So they didn't technically run into each other, but we did have it to where the flow of people coming in and out of the building for the vaccine was separate from the people that were entering and exiting for the fitness room.
So, Raney, you mentioned a few things that the Sam Johnson Center did, virtually during the pandemic. Can you talk a little bit about what this center specifically offers to our senior adult community? Like why should you join Sam Johnson?
Yeah. So I had to think about this question. Shanna, you sent me the questions for this, and there's so many good answers, that I could give. But, our mission here at SJC is to enrich the lives of those that are 50 plus. We want to provide them good quality classes, socialization events here at SJC, and that's our main goal. We want to provide a positive social environment. We offer nutritious meals to our patrons. We provide a safe place. We inform our patrons of things that we have going on. And we basically provide a home away from home. A lot of our patrons spend most of their day here. So the fitness classes that we offer, the educational classes that we offer, the art classes that we offer, we want to appeal to anybody that is above the age of 50.
Well, I happen to know that at the front of the building, which would be the south side of the building, the wellness center is also part, but it's not technically part of the recreation center. It actually just is housed in there. Can you tell people? I feel like that's a little hidden gem that people don't know about.
It is. It's definitely a hidden gem. So the city of Plano has a long-standing partnership with the Wellness Center for Older Adults. The Wellness Center is a nonprofit organization that provides services to individuals 55 and older residing in Collin County and the surrounding areas. The intent of the WCOA programming is to treat the whole person as well as their caregivers. Their programming addresses the whole picture by treating the physical, mental, social, financial, and emotional health of seniors, essentially making them a one-stop shop for older adults' needs. The Wellness Center provides low-cost preventative healthcare services, free durable medical equipment lending, and healthcare education, mental health counseling in both individual and group settings, as well as social support services through intensive case management for at-risk seniors, short-term volunteer-based transportation, and information referral assistance. They're conveniently located in our building, and they are open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m.
So, Raney, a lot of people out there are over the age of 50. They haven't joined yet. What do they need to do to join, to become a member of the Sam Johnson Rec Center, and how much does it cost them?
Yeah, actually, one simple step is come and see us at SJC. We would love to see your face at the facility and get to meet you. It's $15 for residents of Plano, $25 for non-residents in Plano, and that's for a full year. It's a full year fee. So they have access to our facility. They have access to all of our open card play, our fitness center, our gazebo cafe, and our classes as well. So,
And Raney, before we say so long, is there anything else we should know about the rec center?
honestly, we would love to have anybody here come in and see us. We'd love to meet you. The one thing about our facility and our staff is that we develop relationships with our patrons, and most everybody we know by first name. And we would love to have you.
Sean, I know you agree with me. If you haven't been to the Sam Johnson Recreation Center, you definitely need to get over there. It is a top-notch facility on so many different levels, and it's a great place to go if you're over the age of 50.
That's beautiful. It really is a beautiful building.
Thank you. And thank you for having me on here today.
Raney Krev, Recreation Supervisor of the Sam Johnson Recreation Center. We appreciate you being here with us today on Inside Plano.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's always great to talk to Raney and learn more about what's happening at Sam Johnson. It sounds like it's hopping in. I don't know about you, Steve, but I am now interested in trying one of their cheeseburgers.
Me too. We got to go there definitely. And I need to spend more time there.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I've heard that the folks working out at the rec center there will put you to shame. They're super fit, super fun. So I think that would be a good challenge. And what a great value, $15 a year. I mean, that's
Can't beat that.
yeah. Well, hey, I don't want anyone to forget that we are right in the middle of budget season here at the city. And budget season for the city means budget season for taxpayers too, because the city budget is based on revenue streams that include all kinds of things like sales tax and property tax and permits and fees. So city manager presented the budget to the city council at the end of July, and that formally opened up the budget process. So there will be a ton of meetings. There'll be opportunities for public feedback, special workshops, and of course, lots and lots of information going out. We're not bringing Karen Rhodes Whitley to the podcast this year, but you can go back and listen to an old episode and she talks in depth about how the budget process works. But we would love to have you involved. After all, it is our city and it is every taxpayer's money. So we'd love to hear your opinion. Council will continue that process through early September, at which point they take a vote to formally adopt the operating budget, the community investment program, as well as set the tax rate. And our fiscal year actually starts October 1st.
Shauna, we have a lot of incredible athletes here in Plano. And if we ever do establish a Plano Sports Hall of Fame, this guy's a shoo-in for induction. Of course, I'm talking about Blake Coleman, the National Hockey League player who is from Plano, grew up here, went through the Dallas Stars youth hockey system. Last year, he played for the Tampa Bay Lightning when they went to the Stanley Cup Finals and won. He became the first Texan and the first Plano resident, not only to ever play in a Stanley Cup final, but to win the cup. Well, we had no idea that 1 year later, the Tampa Bay Lightning would be right back in the finals again. And Blake and his teammates won a second back-to-back Stanley Cup. So we honored him last year. We had a Blake Coleman Day over at the Courtyard Theater. And I just have a feeling that he may be back in town soon. And we just might be able to get him to a city council meeting for recognition. I mean, it's amazing. It's so difficult to win a Stanley Cup. But to think of winning two back-to-back is just beyond imagination. So congratulations to Blake and his family who's still here in Plano. We're very, very proud of him.
Yes. Yeah. It's amazing to me to think of a kid from Texas not only being competitive in ice hockey, but being competitive and successful at the highest levels of the sport. It's amazing.
And we got a lot of attention because whenever he plays, they always mention the kid from Plano, Texas.
Yes.
Blake Coleman.
Yes.
Plano pride.
That's right. That's right. And, I think it would be really cool to at least start assembling a list of our notable athletes. Plano is very fortunate to have some notable professional athletes. notable former Olympians. And we have 2 more names to add to that roster of former Olympians, because we had 2 individuals who competed in the rescheduled Olympics this year in Tokyo, competing in karate, Brian and Tom Scott. So both here in Plano, they train at the Academy of Classical Karate, and I believe the team coach also from Plano. So we are super proud and talk about being so honored that not only are you competitive in your sport, that you're competitive at the highest of levels, but you're also representing the city of excellence in the world stage. And we just couldn't be prouder. Well, Steve, with sports and food and all of the things, that brings us to another end of another episode of Inside Plano. And I just can't believe episode 44 today. I know.
Can you believe we've done 44 podcasts?
No, I can't. And I still have a ton of ideas of things to talk about. And I am very grateful. It seems like every month I get good feedback from our audience on new things to talk about and questions that they have. So please, I welcome those. Send those to us at askplano@plano.gov. While you're listening to this podcast, do us a favor and give us a rating or a review. It helps people find our show, and share it with one of your neighbors. We think this is a great way to stay informed on what's happening in the city and kind of the why behind things that are happening. So until next time, we hope you have a great August, everyone. Talk to you later.
Bye, everybody. And that's it for our Inside Plano. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did doing it.
If you have any comments or suggestions, send them to us at askplano@plano.gov. Bye.
Talk to you next month. The Inside Plano podcast is brought to you by the City of Plano.